Now to the Great Australian Land Sell-Off, an extraordinary situation allowing foreign raiders to buy up thousands of our traditional family farms and hundreds of thousands of hectares. And it means our food supply could be in danger. Jonathan Creek has the story.
These countries are smarter than Australia. They're buying foreign land because they know they have to feed their own people in the future.
The rest of the world values what we have here far more than we do.
To hear the heart-wrenching stories that's going on, the farmers are just not getting enough. Australian government needs to wake up, for goodness sake.
Our welcome mat is out, our door wide open. Now foreign raiders are staking their claim. The nation's farmland is being sold right out from under us, and along with it, our food supply.
We have no policy for food production that's sustainable in Australia at the moment.
Farmer advocate and Fair Income food campaigner Richard Bovell.
We're selling off the opportunity of future generations of Australians to participate in the next boom in the world, and that will be the production of food.
This is Smithton in northwest Tasmania, the epicentre of a national crisis. Despite being considered the very best dairy farming land in the world, at least 25 farms here are now up for sale.
It's a huge issue, and sooner or later our governments will have to wake up to that fact.
Farmers crippled by rising costs and stagnated milk prices are being forced to bail out. Wayne Tennant is now in the ironic position of becoming a tenant on his own land.
Last year we got around 30 cents a litre for our milk, and it's cost us 38 cents a litre to produce it.
And because farmers know they can't make a living on the land, there are no local buyers lining up. It means all 25 properties will most likely end up in Chinese hands.
I think this is the most heart-wrenching thing that's ever happened to me in real estate.
Betty Kay is charged with the sad task of selling the farms. The situation's so desperate, she attended the recent Dairy Expo in China to shop the properties around.
This morning I've had 2 more phone calls from Queensland. We've also got dairy farmers phoning from Victoria and New South Wales in desperation to sell their dairy farms.
One disaster after another, if you look at the way Australia's natural resources are managed, ends up being converted to foreign ownership.
Rob Belcher is a farmer and managing director of Sustainable Agricultural Communities of Australia.
I'm not xenophobic, but I'm very national, and I look at the strategy that this country needs to employ for the benefit of this country and for all the other people we feed.
Rob believes the rot really began 3 years ago when investors, looking to minimise their tax, ploughed $1.5 billion into managed investment schemes. These schemes bought $800 million worth of forestry land and $700 million worth of horticultural land like vineyards. Problem is, most of these schemes have gone bust.
You get a company which then inevitably goes belly up, and the asset is then on the market at fire sale prices to overseas investors. That's exactly what's happening.
In fact, the failure is so bad, 500,000 hectares of Australian land is now up for grabs. Much of it, once family owned, will be snapped up by overseas buyers. Senator Bill Heffernan is calling on the Foreign Investment Review Board to pay more attention to agricultural land sales.
Present time it's excluded, except where there is a sale over $230 million. That in effect means every farm in Australia could be sold and no one would take any notice.
You can't buy land in Japan, for example. It's difficult to buy land in China, and yet we are letting these people come in and buy.
Ausbuy's Lynn Wilkinson knows it's bad news for consumers.
The more food production we lose in this country, the more we lose control of our farms, the more prices are going to go up in the supermarkets and the more expensive it will be to put food on Australian tables.
The march to our shores is on wherever you look. In New South Wales, Chinese state-owned Bright Foods is interested in up to 10 vineyards currently owned by Foster's. In Robinvale, Singaporean company Olam International has bought $288 million worth of almond orchards, nearly half of the nation's entire crop. In Victoria, Qatar-based Hassad Food recently purchased 3 properties used for lamb production. While in Queensland, Hassad recently paid $18.5 million for a 12,500 square kilometre property in Cunnamulla. That's bigger than Qatar itself. The government claimed today that foreign ownership of our agricultural land is low. But a spokesman for Assistant Treasurer Nick Sherry says a steady flow of investment is vital for our agricultural industry.
It's time in Australia we started to think ahead, think like the Chinese and plan for the future.
That's Jonathan Creek reporting.